back in our old digs this morning as we say good morning to you at 8 o'clock on the start of a Thursday. Glad you're with us for Second Cup with two very important people. Our VIPs are here as we approach St. Patrick's Day next Monday. We've got a big weekend ahead of us on Saturday and Sunday in the Old Ward, and of course, marching up Delaware Avenue in downtown Buffalo.
I am the biggest fan of St. Patrick's Day. To me, it feels like, especially in Western New York, we have the holiday season, right? You get like Christmas, Hanukkah, and then January, February, you kind of deal with all that snow a little bit, but then St. Patrick's Day, you start to see the light. You start to have that fun. It's one of the best, most amazing weekends in Buffalo, especially. So we're so glad to have you here. We got the Grand Marshal of the parade, and then
Father
Peter's
Dave,
here
Peter,
with his bagpipes.
It's all good.
Ready to go. How are you guys feeling going into this weekend?
Doing fantastic. Yeah, I'm telling everyone to get the FDH going, the Father Dave homework, just to keep storming heaven for some good weather. No rain.
We were talking about how it's going to be a little rainy and a little windy on Sunday, but that's not going to stop people from coming down to downtown Buffalo to see the parade. It's a tradition every single year here in Western New York, and we know one of the biggest parades for all to come and see. How, talk about the honor, I guess I should say, about being Grand Marshal this year.
Yeah, it's a beautiful honor. It's one of those things where you're elected by the committee, the United Irish American Association. So it's great. What an honor to represent our heritage, the Irish heritage. And I always talk about faith, family, and fun. That's a beautiful way to put the day. It's a celebration of a great saint, St. Patrick, and how he brought a lot of people to God in Ireland, and family. We're a big family in Western New York, and we love to be able to get out and have some fellowship, some community, and then fun. Hey, come on out. We've been hibernating for, 5 months. It's been brutal, just to be able to, to be able to get out, have a pop, and a couple laughs.
Peter, the rain has got to affect you, though, in particular, as you're bagpiping. What are you expecting?
Well, as Father Dave says, everyone please pray. In the group I belong to, we have a meteorologist in our group. And last week he sent us a message. 60s, a little cloudy, maybe some rain, but hopefully we'll be good.
How does that affect you when you're playing?
Well, it's a wood instrument, so wood and moisture are not good. But when we get done, you dry them off and hope everything's okay.
What group are you part of?
D Company, Buffalo City Guard, Gordon Highlanders.
Shout out.
Yeah.
All right. How long have you been playing?
Almost 50 years.
Wow. No way. Since you were a baby?
You see this, yes.
So, this is a cool thing for Western New Yorkers to get involved with, obviously, to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Katie Sullivan says, Father Dave Richards is the best. Do you know, Katie?
Yeah.
Burglary says top of the morning.
Right, exactly. Gordon Highlanders are the best. Number are $1, says Lori. Is that a thing? Gordon Highlanders are $1? Okay. Do we mean number one or do we mean $1? Maybe she hit the wrong button.
We're showing this old video, and I think maybe this will help along with the prayers, Father Dave, when we're seeing some clearer skies. And we just got to think no rain, at least for when you guys are out there and celebrating. But I do feel like St. Patrick's Day and these parades just bring like a renewed energy and renewed spirit. What does it feel like for you in years past when you've been out there? That energy that comes with
That's beautiful. It's such a great, energetic day where everyone comes together and you can feel it. It's a beautiful, beautiful energy.
I wonder, first of all, can you tell me about St. Patrick? Because I'm a good Jewish boy from Long Island. Help me understand who St. Patrick actually was.
Yeah, shalom.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Bavakasha.
Yeah.
Toda.
So he was born in the late 300s. I think he died in 460. And what an amazing story. We could learn a lot from the saints for sure. But he ended up in Ireland, and he had his ministry all about shepherding. And that's what he did. He was a shepherd. But then, on that other metaphorical way, he was shepherding the people to God.
Sure.
So it's a little bit about him. Yeah. And so he established many churches in Ireland. So
reason to celebrate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And Peter, I wonder, what are you actually going to be playing should there be no rain? What do you play typically on St. Patrick's Day?
Oh, we try to stick with the Irish tunes in particular. Danny Boy, Irish Eyes Are Smiling, some of the marches and things like that. We'll be playing for Father Dave at the beginning of the Buffalo Parade on Sunday, honoring him as Grand Marshal. So our group will form up in front of the Statler building, and have Father Dave stand in the circle with us, and we'll play a couple of tunes for him.
One of my, Cindy says, my friend plays the bagpipes. She is amazing. That's pretty cool. Men and women playing both.
Yeah.
Julie has a dirty question, you guys, but you
Gosh.
know, we're sharing voices on all sides. Do guys wear underwear under the kilts?
Socks and shoes.
That's it?
Socks and shoes.
The more you know. It gets a little breezy under there.
Oh
Yes,
my
it
God.
does.
Okay, there you have it, Julie.
I was just going to ask, switching gears, about the honor of being Grand Marshal. Take me through, what goes through your mind when they're like, Father David's you this year.
Yeah. First of all, I don't have a kilt, so just a heads up. It was such a beautiful honor to get the word that the whole committee elected me to be Grand Marshal this year. And I've been praying with the committee for about 15 years, since 2009. Every time we have a meeting, I would open with prayer and set things up for the Cathedral Mass, which is 10:30 at the Cathedral on Parade Day morning. So it was a quite an honor.
Peter, there's this one song that I always love when the bagpipes play, and it's da na 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 na. What song is that?
Scotland the Brave.
Okay,
Ooh.
one of my favorites.
One of the most popular.
And so I'll tell you a little story. Every year when I grew up, there was a Memorial Day parade in my little community in Wantagh, New York, and we would line up. We'd wait for the bagpipers to play because it was like a sign of something renewal. It kind of felt good, like it cleanses the soul a little bit. And every single time the bagpipes would approach where we stood, they would stop playing, and it was just the drums thumping. And like, that was cool, but I want to hear the bagpipes. So I don't know, can you play?
I can.
Do you have them like memorized, or like, do you guys use sheet music ever, or they're just in there?
You learn from sheet music, but it's got to be memorized,
All
because as you march, you're not playing with the
Sure.
stands in front of you.
I know that there's like a first step when you play the bagpipes, and it's like getting that hum, right? How do you do that?
That's the drones that you see here.
Okay.
And as I fill the bag and I engage the bag, the drones will start, and then the chanter will play.
Okay.
And the chanter is where you hear the melody.
Interesting.
Okay.
Walk us through what the instrument actually does. I mean, because like the technique, I guess.
Okay. Well, when you first learn, you learn on a smaller version of this chanter,
Okay.
similar to a child's recorder, but that
That's what
kids
it looks
learn
like.
in
Do
school.
hot cross buns on that.
And it's just a blow stick and the chanter. So
Okay.
you learn just with that.
Interesting.
And it's small motor skills. When you become somewhat proficient on that, then you transfer that to the bagpipe.
Huh.
Now it becomes physical. Add the drones, 3 outlets of air, chanter, a 4th outlet of air, and I'm filling just me.
Wow.
So it's 4 outlets. So it's a very physical instrument.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, everything has to be memorized. So the older I get, that becomes more of a challenge.
Yeah.
Does it ever feel like, do you run out of breath? Do you lose
yeah.
your,
Yeah.
okay, you've got
Especially
to, right?
these
And you're
cold-
walking at the same time.
These cold weather parades, that cold weather just changes the dynamics. I mean, it's so much more difficult to breathe.
Okay, so give us a sense of how you do it.
I've been hitting the treadmill the last 6 months.
You look good, my friend.
Well, I don't know about that. Saturday afternoon will be a test. But, yeah.
Well, let's hear it.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to step down off of here. So
Okay.
I don't fall.
So cool.
That's
That was awesome.
The way it fills the space is why it like scared me a little bit when
Oh
you
my
first started
God.
playing. But
Can you
whoa,
control the volume?
no, it's just
No
which is why
volume
it's so
control.
perfect for a parade and for like
Flying through.
outdoor.
Once
That's
you're
awesome.
playing, you're playing.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Did you hear that?
I'm sure.
I'm sure they heard it across the street.
Okay, people are like awesome. I absolutely love it. Oh my gosh, people are just are absolutely feeding into this and just eating it up. I mean,
Very
bagpipes,
nice.
they just take you somewhere, right? When you hear that noise, that experience, it's
Oh,
just like,
God.
oh.
It fills the
Pumps
soul.
you up a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else can you play?
You want an Irish tune?
Yeah.
An Irish
A little bit of
tune.
Danny Boy.
Oh my gosh, that is just
Danny Boy's such a
amazing.
good one. That was, and then you got to keep time too with your foot. I see
Oh,
you
yeah.
like
Yeah.
stomping while you do it just to keep you in line. How do you guys all stay in the same rhythm? Maybe just trust.
That's part of the challenge. That's why you add drums.
Yeah.
So you hear the drum beat to keep everyone in time, practice, and but it's a challenge at times.
Well, you're so good at it, and it's so awesome.
How pivotal is that hum? Because you hear it in the background, almost like that bass. Talk to me about like all of that combining, all of it coming together. It sounds
all
yeah.
the sound. Well, the chanter by itself is a harsh instrument. If you just played that, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Okay.
So the drones add that background hum
Mm-hmm.
to cut the shrill sound of the chanter.
Interesting.
So that's where their purpose comes into play.
I mean, it is just so cool to watch the instrument itself, and you, I mean, taking the breath while you're playing at the
Yeah.
same time. You don't even notice that there's a brief pause.
Right.
Fascinating to me.
That's all really cool. People, do you ever get asked to play like modern songs? People in the comments are saying, "Can you play Kendrick Lamar?" My friend was like, "Can you play
They ain't
Abracadabra
like
by Lady
us.
Gaga?"
Yes, that's a great dance, Father.
That's how I'm going down the Delaware.
This is the move. This is the move. They not like us. They not like us. Father Dave.
Father Dave, bringing the
Kendrick
heat.
Lamar. Cracking up.
I love
It's
it.
too fun.
John says I heard the bagpipes at a burial before.
Mhm.
Walk us through like the significance here, because it's not just a beautiful instrument; it has some significance and some meaning as
It
well.
does.
History.
It does. Again, the history to it, the solemn of the service. This week alone, I will have played 4 funerals services.
Wow.
But Saturday night, I did something unique. It was a Marine Corps retirement celebration.
Wow.
So I played that. So it's
Ooh-ah.
exactly. So it's the solemn of a funeral, a burial, and then celebrations of a retirement service, birthdays, things like that. So
That's
It's all
what I want
around.
for my birthday.
As Sarah says, Father Dave just made my morning with the Kendrick walk. That's how we're gonna walk out of here this morning.
Anita,
think
yes,
that's
the
awesome.
first word is Saturday. I believe that starts at 11 o'clock.
Mhm.
And then the Sunday parade starts at 2 o'clock. And look, if you're not going to go out to see the parade, maybe the weather has you kind of hunkering down, you can always watch it on our live stream on our social media and our WKBW app. It's going to start about 2 o'clock, which is going to be super cool, just in time for kickoff. Danielle says, "Oh, he gets me every time at a funeral." And I
Yeah.
know it's just so hard to listen to because it really just guts you through and through. It's a really
It's an emotional instrument.
yeah.
Like the bagpipes almost sound like they're crying. Like you can feel the emotion when you're playing. So then when you're part of it all together, it just like, oh, the way it filled the room in here. I wish everyone could hear it the way we heard it.
Can I ask
Really
you a question? How did you get into this?
unique situation. 2 brothers married 2 sisters,
Huh.
bought houses next to each other.
Okay.
So I grew up with 2 sets of parents.
Wow.
My uncle was interested in family heritage, but you're going back 55, 60 years ago. You didn't look up on the internet.
Right.
He wrote letters, went to the library. So as he continued this track, if you will, he found a spot where my cousin, who's 8 years younger than I, could learn to play.
Hmm.
So he started taking lessons.
How do you like that?
A couple of years later, I got involved. Both of my brothers got involved. My dad, my uncle. At one point, there were 17 Hendersons in the Gordon organization.
Wow.
Like that.
It became a family reunion every weekend.
I can
How
only imagine
cool.
you guys practicing in the house and your mom's like, stop. Super cool.
Kelly wondering what time will you be at Silo City on Saturday?
Silo City, probably 3:30. It's all in flux because we're hitting a number of different establishments
Right.
Sure.
after the parade.
Okay.
So,
Good
yeah.
to know.
Father Dave Marguerite says you seem like fun.
Oh, yeah.
Just wait till Sunday. Wait till this weekend.
Father Dave, give us a thought of the day here on this Thursday. It's been a tough week, tough couple of weeks for a lot of people. Give us some fatherly insight.
My heart's full of gratitude, gratitude to my family, friends, and our God. But hey, Mayor Scanlon and all the departments in the city of Buffalo, I just can't thank them enough for all that they put into making it a perfect day, keeping everyone safe and making it fun. So that's basically it. Gratitude.
Love that.
Yeah.
And we can all benefit from that. All right, Peter, you want to give us one more play as we walk you
course.
off?
Do it.
Of course. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Amazing.
Love it. Ah,
Thank
that's
you
so
guys
good.
so much. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
for being here.
This was
Grateful.
the coolest morning.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is awesome. Stay
Awesome.
dry this weekend. We're gonna say no more rain for either day. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm sure a lot of
See you there, right? You'll be marching or no?
Well, you know, we'll see. I'll be back by Sunday.
In spirit, Father Dave.
spirit.
In spirit. Thank you guys again.
Sláinte.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
If you are interested again in watching the St. Patrick's Day Parade, you can do so by logging on to our WKBW app or our WKBW Facebook or Instagram page. I'll be streaming it live for you at 2 o'clock.
Everyone in the comments is thanking you guys because
This was awesome.
We have fun on Second Cup every morning, but this one was special. So we
Thank you.
appreciate you guys for
Grateful.
being there, being here with us this morning.
We're talking about spring, and John is here. He's going to grab your mics from you.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
We're talking spring, and now a sure sign of the season. Mississippi Muds is opening
today at
for
11.
the first time this season.
You know, I've never been to Mississippi Muds.
What?
I've never been.
It's really
You've got two
one of
hands.
the
Why don't you do it?
coolest.
Up here.
It's really cool because you get to just stand outside, get in line with all of your neighbors. You're looking at the water across the street in the city of Tonawanda, and it's just special because everything is kind of going to start to greenify,
Yep.
and it's going to be one of those great spring days.
It's the start of probably Buffalo's most beautiful time of year.
Yeah.
It's just like we're at the top of the mountain. All we have to do is slide downhill into summer through that Mississippi mud and just enjoy it. Okay, it sounds like I have to go.
Yeah, it's good. The burgers are great. I think they have chicken sandwiches also.
And I love ice cream. I can't have ice cream until after Easter, but
Ice cream by the river, absolutely. Field trip is what Peter says.
let's
love
go.
that. Barbara says, so jealous of Taylor and Ed. Awesome way to start the day. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Yeah, that was awesome. Another thing that we want to talk about that so many of you are reading right now on WKBW.com is the idea that the top smash shooter. Oh, I have no mic. That's weird.
We could hear you before though, right?
Yeah, how the hell did that happen?
That's weird. Okay, he should be back now.
Okay, sorry everyone.
Fingers crossed. Okay.
That was weird.
So we were talking about the possibility of a charge being dropped against the top smash shooter.
Right.
Hard to think we're coming up on 3 years of that tragedy, which is wild.
So, I want to put this into perspective, because I don't want this to be about the shooter. I want this to really be about the people who lost their lives that day, the men and women who are still affected by what this guy did, this heinous, absolutely terrible thing that somebody from out of town committed upon our community.
Yeah, and I know some people who still can't go back to that store who haven't been inside just because of the trauma, right? I mean, sometimes just driving by strikes me and I'm like, oh my gosh, I still can't believe it happened. And there's still so much pain and there's so much trauma for people who live there. Thank you so much, Peter. And, going through that community, knowing we're without 10 people, 10 of our neighbors, many of them elders in our community, it's so painful.
So what Lauren's saying is something that I think that we need to talk about here. I can't believe they're trying to get that hate crime dropped. So I want to, kind of dig into this a little bit because I think that there's a little bit of a misconception among, especially in some cases with our reporting, but in other cases, I think community-wide.
There are a lot of details here when we're talking about state charges, federal charges. You know, he's going away for the rest of his life, that's for sure. But the death penalty is on the table, and there are certain charges that differ between the two. That's what we're talking about here. But it's important to know the difference.
So, two things. Number one, as Taylor mentioned, he's already serving a life sentence on state hate crime charges. That's across the board. Nothing will change in that. He's in jail for the rest of his life without parole. Secondly, he now faces the death penalty for these hate crime charges on the federal level. Lee's right. When I go to the TOPS, it sucks the life right out of you.
I have the same feeling. I haven't been inside.
And we'll go back to that in a second. But what I think is very confusing is that they are not necessarily dropping the hate crime charges. Right. What they are doing, it's a 27 count indictment against this guy. And I'm going to get a little technical here, but I need you just to kind of walk with me. We're not going to run. We're going to walk together. 27 counts. What they want to do after outlining all of the hate crimes against the community in this indictment, they then have this one charge of a hate crime. It's number 27, where they say there was a hate crime committed against the people who were in and around that TOPS that day.
So the 70 or so people who were either walking outside or in the general area who experienced it.
The defense wants that charge, that one charge, dropped because the people who were named in that charge, because there were no people named in that hate crime charge, which they say violates the law. They are essentially saying that because no one person was identified among the 70 people who this hate crime is alleged to have been committed against, it cannot stand because a hate crime has to be committed against a person. So there is a little bit of a legal nuance here. Regardless, the hate crime charges still remain against the 10 people who were shot and killed that day, or for the 10 people who were shot and killed that day.
Right. It's not disputed that this was a hate crime, that this was racist, that this was an attack specifically to kill Black people. That's not being debated here. They're just saying, oh, well, you didn't even name the 70 people who are, supposedly being attacked in this hate crime. So we want that part dropped.
What's interesting, and we can go back to the trauma, because this community, for the last 3 years, has still been victimized, right? We saw the snowstorm after, and we saw what happened in that deadly blizzard when, there were a lack of services and a lack of grocery stores. We see constantly how we're talking about reinvestment in that community, but we haven't actually seen the fruits of that labor.
I was just there a couple weeks ago, and I went to Zawadi Books, which is, just up the street from the Meriwether Library, Golden Cups at the corner, and then TOPS is over at the next street. And you're walking through and everyone's smiling at you, despite everything that we've been through as a community. There is joy there, and there's so much to celebrate. And that was part of my coverage when we hit the 2-year mark. Is there's so much to enjoy, and there's so many staples that are part and are on Jefferson Avenue that we can look to and be proud of. But you don't want it to just be the tried and true, the ones who have been there, that have been through it. You want to see development. You want to see new people come in and invest in this community that's been put through the ringer. I mean, people have been through so much, have been hurt, have been literally sought after and attacked. You would think that there would be at least one new thing, one shiny thing to cling to and say, hey, we have this now. And of course, the new store is beautiful. They have a new memorial outside, and the inside of it, I hear, is wonderful. But people want to feel like they're being taken care of, like they're being considered, and they don't feel that, I don't think.
Anita says technicalities like that aggravate me. They should have named the 70 people. And the prosecutors would say they don't have to. And the judge in this case has not made a decision one way or another just yet. Noreen says, I don't understand why it takes years for these crimes to go through the courts. It's crazy to me. He was caught, he did the crime, now he's got to do the time. And the reason why it's taking so long is because the federal government is seeking the death penalty against this guy. Had they not, then the defense would have pleaded guilty to whatever charges were on the table.
Yeah.
It's that death penalty, the fact that he could be put to death, that's got this dragging on now.
Right. Kim says he took 10 lives that could be here today. He didn't care what he did. So the families that are left to live with what he did, Buffalo, of course, will never forget. And it's important that we keep talking about this. I know it's heavy. I know it's tough to talk about, but I mean, people are waking up every day and thinking about this first thing.
Anita says she took a class on Tuesday about community catastrophic incidents, the immediate and aftermath. And Anita, I'm wondering and interested in what you learned.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was a like real-time lesson in community trauma. I don't know what it was like for you.
Oh, well, it was so wild. I mean, that day, I mean, it was a Saturday, beautiful day in May. I'm supposed to come in and be the Saturday anchor and, you know, just do my job. Usually we're talking about fundraisers and festivals and things like that. It's so easy, such an easy lift. The minute I got in here, we're getting phone calls. Oh, I saw people on the ground, something happened, and I'm just fielding the phone calls. And then I'm supposed to update the web story. Now all of a sudden we're on TV, you're out there. So it's me and Ed going back and forth with each other. You're speaking to people who are talking about what they saw in just raw detail. And it was just so much disbelief for so long. And I think I finally broke when we were in the press conference and they were talking about pretty much confirming instantly, which almost never happens. This is a hate crime.
Right.
You don't hear that until after. They have to confirm. But this was without a doubt an attack on Black people. And here I am, a Black reporter sitting there taking notes and tweeting. There was an 8-year-old child who came up to me who said, oh, we had to hide in the freezer. You don't recover from something like that. And obviously we're all intents and purposes that day, kind of on the outside looking in, we're learning, we're just kind of showing up after, you know, the second responder, but you're still going through that. You're seeing these emotions and you're seeing people go through these things. And we were out there the whole next week. We've been covering this. We
for years now
pulled out so many stories from this, but I mean, I know you think about it. It's something I think about. Have you been in the store?
Oh yeah, I've gone back. And I think, you know, for me, it's important to support the community in any way that I can. You know, as an ally, as somebody who's again, on the outside looking in, but it was something that took so long for me to heal through. And, you know, I think in that first year, especially, it was hard for me to continue on without getting angry about it.
I think it ignited a passion in a lot of people that warms my heart, because I feel like, you know, when you are walking the Black experience, there's so much to be angry about sometimes, and you get frustrated and you're like, oh, I just still feel this. And some people are like, oh yeah, oh, do we have to?
Well, we'll just continue on here.
And people are like, oh, you know, it's hard for other people to see if you're not living that walk or experiencing microaggressions and these things. But I think when it was so blatant and it was so apparent that racism, premeditated, it came into our community when it was that black and white, for lack of a better term, I think it ignited a passion in our community to say, how could this happen here and what can we do better? And that makes me feel good. It makes me feel good that we can try to do better and we can realize this and we can try to move forward, and that people want to grow as a community. And I think we can hang on to that.
Peter says, I've passed by the memorial a couple of times. It gives me chills. And I feel like that's probably the best way to give people some hope, right? To say, we as a community understand what we've been going through. We understand who we are, what we are, and where we need to go. And, you know, when I was talking with Thomas Buford from the Buffalo Urban League a couple of years ago, he said, we have to take this moment and seize on the momentum.
Right.
And
all eyes were on Buffalo. All eyes still on Buffalo.
Swing us into the future. Julie says it's a horrible memory for me, just how horrible it was. And Megan says, yeah, Buffalo's strong. But I remember this when I was talking to, oh my gosh, Pearl Young's daughter, rather. You know, you talk about what she has to say. You have to be Buffalo uncomfortable before you're Buffalo strong.
We have to go through that icky feeling that feels like, you know, something bad happened. So many of the victims' family members are living with that every day. We can't gloss over the problems. We have to face them head on, and they're uncomfortable. It's ugly, it's sticky, but we got to push through.
Yeah. Kim, good morning to you. Glad you're with us. They cannot understand. I want to address this in a second. Sorry, Josh was on TV, so we were talking a little bit lower. Kim says, my grandchildren are all mixed and they are young and they just cannot understand why, because of the color of their skin, they die.
I think it does not make the person. The color of your skin does not.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. And isn't that what Martin Luther King said? It's the content of your character.
Yeah.
Not the color of your skin.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that we're at the point where we have to say that still so many years later. But you do. And that's the reality. And I think it's one of those things you got to face every day.
And what I love is that the station has given us the opportunity to really dig into that, because it's tragic, but it's a reality.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why we talk about, you know, what's going on with the case and stuff. And no one wants to talk about him. He's not the focus of why we're doing this, but there is justice still to be delivered. And I think people want to see that come through.
Listen, we got to get going here. Tomorrow's Friday. Hope you have a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.